Hello and welcome to the Powerful African Women, the POW podcast.
The podcast to empower the POW in you.
I'm Aïssatou.
And I am Sarah.
And today we are going to discuss with our guest, Christina, her path towards shaping the POW within her.
We will discuss her identities and dreams and how she embraced them.
We'll introduce the topic,
share experiences and argue our point of view.
At the end of the podcast, we'll give our recommendations, so stay tuned
and listen.
So hello everyone and welcome back to the POW podcast. Wow, it's been a while, but we are back.
Yes, we are back, ready to kill it with the new year. We have exciting guests for you. We're just happy that you guys stay tuned and you're back.
Today we are going to talk about a topic we all love, but Corona made it a bit harder and difficult for us to enjoy, that is traveling. Our guest today is the founder of Melanin Travels Magic. I quote, a tour operator specialized in providing cultural and heritage group trips primarily for people of African and Caribbean descent in Africa.
Yes,
that's a huge deal,
That's a huge deal and that's actually very exciting,
Hello to our guest. Now it's time to present yourself by bringing out the POW in you. I'm going to ask you 5 identification questions and you just have to answer. My first question is, what is your POW identification? That is, how would you like us to call you throughout the podcast?
Hi everyone. So you could call me Christina, simply.
Okay. And second question, what is your POW country or countries of identification? That is the countries you identify the most to.
So obviously, I was born in France, but my parents are Guadeloupean, so I identify strongly with the Caribbean heritage. And also, I guess the 2 countries I visited in Africa were Senegal and Ghana, so I identify also with those ones. There you go!
All right. Okay, third question, what is your POW goal? That is, what is your ultimate goal?
My ultimate goal is to influence, I would say, the Black diaspora. So to be the bridge for the Black diaspora. I guess that's why I set up my company, because I want them to communicate more, to know their heritage and the variety of culture and love themselves. So be empowered by the fact that they know more about each other and collaborate with each other.
Yes,
nice.
Great.
Okay, fourth question. What is your academic path or career if you have started working, which you have? But...
Yay! So both ways of the of the road. Since I've been working for 13, 14 years.
Wow.
I've been on the road, Jack, as you say. I initially studied both in England and in France. I've got 3 masters, so the girls got title.
Yes.
But it's
that's great though.
I was more into English economics management. Then I went in international trade, like a lot of people, not knowing exactly what I would do. And then I end up working first in commercial role, then being in digital marketing, which I love and embrace. And because you can work everywhere with it, your skills, basically. That's what I love.
Yeah.
And you never get bored as well, because things change all the time. And it's more like challenges to find solution to, because each industry is different, each client is different. So I love the fact that I've been able to start from fashion and hotel, but then I moved in other industries.
Yeah, that's nice, because now you have all these diverse experiences.
Yeah.
Last question, because POW is also about having fun. What are your hobbies? That is, what do you like to do for fun?
So my hobby is it has evolved over time, but the key one is traveling, but also dancing, because I've done some travel ties around kizomba classes, for example.
Ooh,
yeah,
kizomba.
Man. Yes, no, because you meet people and then they tell you, do you know you could actually travel while dancing? I was like, what? Really? And then I said, give me the tips. And they just refer me to other people who were organizing, or some I knew already, because I went to Cape Verde and Brazil around Kizomba. And Cape Verde was a friend of mine who used to do Kizomba parties for 10 years, and she organized every year a Cape Verde trip. And I was like, okay, I need to give her a chance because I want to see those places.
Send us the links. Okay, good. So now transitioning to the best part of the podcast, which is called the Fireside Chat. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I ask you a question, you just answer out of the back of your head, you know? First question, what has been the most affordable country you've been to?
Most affordable. Usually it's in Africa because I was shocked when I was in Ghana. Uber is so cheap, and I was like, it's usually the rides are less than £2 to £5, so it's like $3 to $4 anywhere you go in Accra.
Yeah.
Food is cheap as well. Getting the hairdresser, it was like 50 cedis, so it's like €8, something like that, to go to the hairdresser.
Really?
So, and food, what I love in Ghana is you have a buffet most of the places.
Mm-hmm.
So it's either you pay by plate, and it was like 20 cedis, so it's like £3. Or you go for a buffet, which is 50, 60, then it's unlimited.
And you also have lots of street food too, which, you know, makes it way more cheaper than main country. So next question, let's go. What is the safest country you've been to?
I would say Japan.
I agree.
They're obsessed first of cleanliness and safety. Nothing will happen to you. So
okay. So next question, the best food.
I would say Senegal and Ghana. I would just say a story because after coming. Sorry. No, Senegal, I love the DB tree.
Oh, DB.
Yes, man. And every day I was going, the guy is cooking fresh every night for us. And I was like, this is the best thing on earth. It's better than any kebab. And then in Ghana, I think kelewele, which are like fried plantain and yam fries.
I'm hungry. Okay, next question. Let's say, what was your most memorable travel experience?
My first big trip 6 years ago was going to Cuba. For me, it was the opportunity of a lifetime because I asked my friend, my family, they told me, yeah, from Canada, you have lots of cheap flights. So the flight was only $200 return from Montreal to Cuba. And I was panicking because I could not book Airbnb. So I was like, where am I going to sleep? I don't have money to change. There was all kind of stuff. But I just landed there. And they embraced me. Everyone embraced me. Also because I'm Caribbean. So I relearned to love myself and they loved me straight away.
Yeah.
There's a vibe. The cigars, the cars, music, because everywhere you go, they play salsa live. So wherever you go, every street, at some stage you're fed up to hear salsa because you're like, again!
She makes me want to go to Cuba right now, and please. One last question for you, Christina. So I'm really curious to know, what was the hardest, being a woman traveling or being a Black person traveling?
I won't say I never consider it because raised in Europe, we are not that obsessed with race, but there are places that I've considered that I will never go because of it. That's true. And with time, I changed my mind. Like, I will give some example. Even in Europe, I was afraid to go in south of Europe. I've been. Sometime it's been crazy because you're a Black woman and some people reaction to you, you don't want to hear it or see it because you're being chased. I was, for example, in Madrid in Parc del Buen Retiro, and I have 5 GC guys chasing me. I had to run away, literally. Yeah, that's the reality. I had to run away. Yes. And then in the city, I was harassed by old guys as well. They want all to offer me food or gift. And then I realized it's because in their mind, a Black woman is a prostitute because they're used to see Nigerian or Cameroonese coming for prostitution.
Okay, this is weird. But I think I want you to hold that thought because it's going to come into our discussion that we, in the second point of our podcast.
Thank you, Christina. I think our listeners know a little more about who you are. Now we're going to move to the discussion, which is going to be divided in 2 parts. The first part is about your guest story. So we're going to ask you a few questions and you just have to answer to them. It's like an interview. And the second part, we're going to talk about our social topic, that is a traveling guide for Black women. So let's move to our first part. Could you tell us more about Melanin Travels Magic?
So Melanin's Travel Magic, it was born out of, there's 2 or 3 stories, but the main stories was like, I wanted to transmit the legacy of all the past travel I've recently done. And I wanted also to find a way to empower, educate, and make the Black diaspora explore more each other countries or parents' countries, because I think that's the flow we have. We tend to stick to our parents' origin and not be curious enough about the fact that all the commonalities we have. That's why my first trip was in Cuba, but then going to Brazil or Cape Verde, I found out that they live like my grandmother used to, for example.
Yeah.
The society are organized in the same matriarchal way. Agriculture or going to the market, because my grandparents were farmers, but also sell on the market. So I found a lot of commonalities in the culture whenever you go and you find out about this story, or sometimes the food. I've always wondered, why do we all have the same food? But we name it differently, for example. Or something I just discovered, for example, because sometimes there's some places in Africa, like when I went to Ghana, I was like, whoa, Aburi Garden looks like we have exactly the same place in Guadeloupe with palm trees. And then now I've recently discovered that all the palm trees in the Caribbean come from Zanzibar and Tanzania. They've been exported during slavery. So it makes sense that places look alike, right? Because, it's not only the people who were imported, it's the vegetation as well.
I think, just even thinking of that reminded me of something that I read today. It was like cassava, something that is so popular in every culture. Apparently it started in South America and it was exported to Africa.
Yes, it went the other way around. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Which was interesting because I always thought that, the roots
it was West
Africa,
African.
since it's
I know.
so common. Yeah, but that's good. So the second question we wanted to ask you was, what inspired you to start your own business? Like, what steps did you take?
I should say, honestly, in UK right now, since all the George Floyd events, there's been a big, we call it Black Renaissance, where we have kind of impulse to think for ourselves, do something for our community, think about generational wealth, and build businesses either as side hustle or main income. Because we had a huge wake-up call following the Black Lives Matter movement, and we have all kind of incentive. Like, I'm part of the London Chamber of Commerce, for example. They set up finally a Black Business Networks section, so I'm part of it. And I'm part of a few WhatsApp groups, especially the Black business founded by female is the most growing section. So I was like, being in this wave, I was like, what should I put my business in, knowing that I come from digital marketing and I'm already a contractor or freelancer, self-employed. So for me, it was like, I want to do something outside of my realm, but I want to follow my passion and convert it in a business. That was my inspiration. And the steps has been gradual. So I took some classes with people more experienced than me in the US. I try to surround myself also. I got a lawyer and I defined my values because all my associates or suppliers or vendor are Black businesses. So for example, my lawyer is Nigerian, my accountant is Caribbean, my web designer is Caribbean, and now I'm also reaching out for partnership outside and inside the diaspora, whether in Canada, in Caribbean or Africa. So I really want it to be like a circle where we do something for ourselves, but we work in between ourselves, we grow each other.
Today, could you define the purpose of Melanin Travels Magic and the services you provide?
So the purpose initially was organizing group trip to educate, empower the Black diaspora on the variety of its culture, going to Black Nation, what I call. Fortunately, COVID happened, and we have lots of travel ban.
Yeah.
So we kept one trip to Ghana in December, but then in the meantime, I've been on Clubhouse a lot networking, and I'm sourcing new jobs that I was not expecting, either to organize family trips or plan, networking holiday in Ghana for some music exec from the States and Europe. So It's like, right now, what we can do is help people who don't live in UK to plan their holidays or events in whichever country they want to go, because I've also signed partnership with local guides in various countries. So my vision was next year to have Brazil, Colombia, Egypt, Haiti maybe, and Nigeria as group trip. But in fact, what's happening is when I talk to people, they ask me, oh, could you organize my holiday? Or we have this we want to do. Can you help us? So then I go in the process of planning, researching for them, giving them quote, and then if they're happy, then we go ahead.
That's really interesting. And yeah, definitely, again, the corona situation came to mess up every other plan. So I would say our last question for this part will be, how do you see the future of Melanin?
For me, initially, I thought it would be only doing group tour, like 5-6 a year. But I think it's going to be a mixture in between group tour, connecting with the diaspora, organizing professional events maybe, and also having partnership with key travel instances, but in the Black travel world. And the fact that I changed my domain to .com. We are global. So we are fully global. And the surprise I had is, the outpouring encouragement I have within the diaspora. I thought, okay, I'm just another company. But in fact, the fact that we specialize in Black heritage is really valued, because it means we want to transmit something beyond pure leisure element of it. And also, for example, for Brazil, when she gave me the itinerary, she on purpose make you go to restaurants which are Black owned, so that you encourage the local community. So it's different, because we want to raise your consciousness, but also empower you to know, okay, realize your privileges and embrace each other, culture and history, because then you will see where we meet and that we're not that different.
So now we've arrived to our main topic, that is traveling guide for Black women. So first, thank you, Christina, for this topic, because we love it and we wanted to discuss it for so long. So thank you. We're actually going to divide the discussion around 5 points that we've identified as guides for Black women traveling. Why is traveling so important? I feel like we've kind of all felt this kind of mental healing process that comes with traveling, It's therapeutic, actually. Even if it's for fun with your friend, if it's traveling solo, if it's just going for cultural trip with your family, whatever, it's therapeutic.
We're going to talk about the 5 things to be mindful of when traveling.
Yes. So let's start with the first point,
which is learn about the country
and how you can connect with it.
One thing we can talk about is really learn about the country in general, right? Learn about their culture, in the sense that whenever you go, again, you don't want to go blindsided. You want to make sure that you know their customs, at least in a very broad way. You don't have to know everything from front to back, but just know a little bit about their culture, know a little bit about their history and how they behave will save you a lot.
And also it will add something to your trip, because you're going to learn something about a history, understand something, and it's gonna make you understand something about yourself ultimately. It's a bit of work, a bit of homework before leaving, but we have to do it.
What about you, Christina?
For me, I usually do research. So anyway, in my mind, I'm like, okay, I have the destination set up in my mind, but then I would do research anyway, whether it's for places to go, local custom, learn a bit of the language, like the 10 words will save your life, like hello, thank you, bye, just to be respectful. And culture and custom is part of it.
Exactly.
Totally. And learn about the Black heritage in the country, because I'm pretty sure in every single country in the world there is some small bit of Black history somewhere. Even in Japan, there is the story of this Black samurai. You need to know that. I think there is like 5 ways. First, look at Black medias. There is this amazing and really good website that is called Travel Noir. It's definitely a must read before leaving, because it's going to show you a different and new image of Black traveling, The second source, look at Facebook groups. There is one that is smaller, and for the French-speaking word, it's called Black Trotteuses. It's exclusively for Black girls, and they give you so many information about so many destinations. Also, you should try to connect with local Blacks. Like, we went to Japan with that friend, and we actually met some Nigerian guy, and I was like, how is a Nigerian guy end up in Japan and speaks Japanese and all of that? But there, exactly. So there is always everywhere, even in Alaska, like they have some Black communities, and try to connect with them, because I'm sure you're gonna learn something. And the last thing that is growing, I know in Europe it's definitely something, it's the Black tours. Like if you go in Paris, they have Le Paris Noir, which is really good. In Lisbon, they have the African Lisbon tour. So whenever you go to a city, just try to look for those kind of Black heritage thing. It can really help you grow up.
I've connected with them, actually. It's so funny you said that. I could kind of give the same sources. So I will find traveler blog, especially Black traveler blog. Facebook group, I think there's more on the UK and US side. There's a few French one. I think like We Are Blackpackers as well. I've been recommended them. In terms of Instagram, you have a few handles like Grandeur Noire who teach you about the Black history throughout continents. And so for me, it's a big inspiration. Yeah, Black Travel Feed as well. There's another girl in the US who I forgot her name, but she do specifically Black civilization and history in each country. And she found like Indonesia, Japan, China, and you're like, wow, we're everywhere, even in Thailand. So I was like, okay. So
you need to give us that name, though.
Yeah, I will find it, and I was trying to research because if you go on Travel Nomad, I think Black Travel Nomad, they always feature I think she's like a teacher, and she feature Black civilization in every country in the world. She did a map where she put Black people everywhere in each country and the name of the civilization. So she's very thorough. And I was thinking, what else? Yeah, Black tour. So this I started to do in those 6 years. Especially I've done some in New York. That's where I've discovered that George Washington was Black. Light-skinned Black, but he was Black and he was from the Caribbean. Yes.
I heard that one.
Because I visited his house and we did the tour of he has a yellow house. We did that.
George Washington.
And because the legend is none of his portraits look the same. So he was trying to hide his blackness.
The one drop rule, right?
Yeah, one drop rule. And he came from the Caribbean, so he maybe was mulatto or mixed, basically. And he had a black wife that he left there. So, there's so many stories. And apps, now you can connect, because I've been interviewed by a Black expat app. So you could actually connect also with the expat, like this Nigerian guy, and then they will give you non-touristy places to go.
Which is the best part of traveling, like really going where the locals are.
Yes.
Exactly. I just want to add a small anecdote about Black heritage in every single country. Is my own experience when I was in Indonesia. And I met these people, they were Aborigines, so they were Papus. And I started talking to them and I was like, my sister, I'm like, is this guy like, this is like, this is the first time I met an Aborigine,
Yeah.
But the second thing is that I started talking to him and he said, I'm really glad to see a sister like you, a Black girl, like having her money, like traveling. Because here in Indonesia, like people don't know first that we exist, but the second thing is that there is a genocide against us. And I was shocked because no one knows about it. And the worst thing is that I have that friend who is from Indonesia, and she told me I've never heard of it because the government is hiding it and no one knows about it. And just connecting with these local Black that I have nothing like in common with except my melanin made me realize that there was some kind of true social struggles for Black people elsewhere.
I mean, not even elsewhere. It's still very everywhere. It's just that, again, in the Western world, we have been encouraged, to be a little bit more vocal about it. We have a little bit more rights, but in China, in India, like Indonesia, now that we know about it, and so many other places, it's still the same thing. We get shut down all the time. Why? Because basically the richer your melanin, the less you matter, I think it's kind of where we just feel a little bit more lucky, and that's why we need to use that to just, be advocates for those who really don't have that.
And raise awareness.
That's why I started to travel in Black Nation, because I had all those questions. I was like, wow, we're at the bottom in every country. What's the situation? What do we have in common in terms of culture? All those questions were inside me, and I was like, I need to go see by myself if those things are true.
Exactly. All right, so our second point is about RESPCT, respect. You have to respect the culture of the country you're going to. I think the first thing to respect is the clothing.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Be like aware.
Be very mindful.
Yes.
Like, don't take things personally, because I feel like most people, especially from the Western world, I have to be very honest. These people here think they're entitled with everything. Because it's freedom, everything. Like, whenever you go to another country, be very mindful that you're going into a different world. People have their own different rules. So based on that, you have to accustom yourself. You ask questions. Like, you can ask people who have been there before, and they will tell you, be mindful, do not wear shorts when you're in public, do not wear like fitted clothes, right?
And even not for religious things, sometimes just for, I know if you go in some areas in the south of Senegal, you shouldn't wear a short, not because people won't like it, but also because there are gonna be mosquitoes biting the hell out of you,
especially when you...
So funny.
I mean, what you're trying to say is just before traveling to any single place in the world, you need to know what I'm gonna wear, what can I wear, what should I wear,
and what am I allowed to wear.
Yes. And the second thing they do differently is all the cultural customs. For instance, I would take the case of Japan. Thank God my colleagues give me a small book with all those rules. But there are a lot of things you don't do in Japan. Like you shouldn't like blow your nose in public. The way you need to say hello, like you don't shake
you bend
people's
all
hands.
the time.
You need to bend.
Yes.
You know? And there's a lot of cultural custom, like you don't eat in public.
Yeah, it's true.
And you follow the cues, like never jump the queue. Otherwise, everyone will like kill you. Like they would shame you so bad. Like I've seen things.
Really?
Don't
you see? So those are the stuff you really have to be aware of. Like maybe another thing we wanted to talk about in the RESPECT section is the language.
Yes.
And that's a big topic. I'm sorry. Like, don't be entitled thinking that because you speak French or English, it's enough. It's not enough. That's all. So you learn a little bit of Japanese, like enough to even just find directions, because it can be useful, not even in an entitled way, but it can be useful.
And that can help you like have connections. I can't remember how many times it happened to me, but you go to a restaurant and just you try to say, oh, thank you, grazie mille, you know, like you try to say hi, and just people start laughing, and they will start, oh, where are you from? They start like talking to you, opening up to you.
It's an icebreaker.
It's definitely an icebreaker. And think about yourself, like if someone tries to speak your language, you're going to try to connect with him, but if they stick to their position and be like, oh no, I'm speaking my language, you should do the effort, you're going to be like, you won't try to go as far as someone trying.
No, this is true. You can connect because when I went in Cuba, because I speak Spanish, I had a lengthy conversation with the locals, and they explained me what they do, their custom, the way of living. But in Japan, I was with my Italian ex, and I felt completely lost. It was the first time I was like unable to connect in any country I go, because they don't speak a lot of English, and they stay to themselves. But they're helpful. Like in some restaurant, because we could not understand the menu, they draw out the sushi for us. That was cute. That's the cutest thing I've seen. Yes, they draw out the whole menu to us for us. That was sweet.
I'm gonna pretend that I don't understand just so that I can do that to me.
So definitely RESPCT people. Okay, third, we're gonna talk about some annoying things to expect going to countries where Black people are rare. I want to talk about something that concerns us women, girls.
Yes.
The fetishism of Black women. How many of you have been victim of this fetishism?
Oh my gosh.
It's this kind of extreme sexualization of Black women abroad. From my experience, is mainly in the Mediterranean area. So
definitely.
Maghreb, like Tunisia, Morocco, Italy.
For me, it's Morocco, Italy, Spain.
I think it's, like you said, it's going to those countries, but even those cultures sometimes being in America or like being in France or all those countries, it doesn't stop them for still fetishizing the women, you know?
Yes.
Because for me, I didn't have to go to Spain. I didn't have to go to Portugal to experience it, you know? Like it's literally in the US, you still see people wanting to talk to you just because, first of all, they're only like Black women, or they really just have a thing. You know, it's not in a healthy way that, oh, okay, you know, like
it's weird.
I'm just dating a woman. It's like, all I've dated is Black women. All I'm talking to is Black women. they have this thing for black women, and you're just like, I don't know
it's
what
not
to think,
natural.
but that's
Yes,
exactly,
not natural.
like, it's very inappropriate and disrespectful towards us.
And that actually moves us to the second point that happened to every single one of us: taking pictures without your consent.
Oh yeah.
Like you just walk and you realize like 10 people taking pictures. It's so annoying.
It happens to me actually in Italy. The first time I've been to Capri, and I was shocked because I was with my friend who was Indian, and she was not shocked at all. She just told me, "Oh, Christina, it might be an opportunity to be spotted by a producer." I said, "Producer of what? Of like a porn movie? Are you crazy?" I chased this guy. I come out of the water because, especially in Italy, there's paparazzi. You don't know where your photograph will end on. The thing was, this guy came out of nowhere. He started to take picture of us in bikini. And I come out of the water, I saw him, I grabbed him, and I was like, delete that straight away. Because I know Italian, I know the fetishization, I know they have paparazzi, and I don't know where my picture will end up on which website. So,
but you know, even without the sexualization part, like, people be prepared. Indonesian love taking pictures of you as a foreigner and as a black. You know, Japanese don't do that because there are they have this distance.
In China,
you know?
they do that. That's what I'm saying. You know, and I feel like Japanese, again, in their culture, they're so centered in respect that even if they want to do that, they won't, because that's how
won't,
they've been
That's what works. So to tell you, there was this girl, she literally FaceTime her boyfriend and start live videoing me to show him like,
that's
look at this black girl.
That's horrible.
I found a solution. It's not a real solution, but what I started doing, because I was really annoyed, I took my phone and I started filming people back.
Yes.
Like, I was like, okay, and I told them, okay, so now you're filming me, I'm filming you, like what's the purpose of what you're doing? So that was that. And so the last point I want to talk about is you need to keep safety in your mind. So you should look for maybe black or women friendly, or what is the level of security of that country as a woman, as a black person, and what to expect in a non-black country if you decide to go, like, be prepared.
Especially as a solo traveler, that's important.
Yeah, you need to research.
You have to.
Because sometimes you ask to your friends. So, for example, when I said even to my Brazilian friend I was going to Brazil, everyone was like scared. Oh, Chris, you don't know anybody. You're going to be mobbed. And in fact, I went to a popular area, Lapa, in Rio. No one attacked me. Everyone thought I was a local. I look Brazilian. So
you really do look Brazilian.
So as long as you don't flash, and you dress normally, people won't annoy you.
You try to blend in.
Yeah, you blend in. But you need to keep safety in mind. As a woman, for example, if I travel alone, I won't go out alone at night, for example.
And that's actually move us to our fourth point, that is solo traveling. Maybe tell us about your experience with solo traveling, Christina.
So I've been solo traveling a lot those last 6 years. Usually, even if you go solo, you meet people, to be honest. So the thing is, I will plan the trip, I will go to the destination, and then once you do activities or excursion, either you pre-booked or you book on site, you will meet people and hang around with them. I try to do as much as Airbnb on my side because I like to live like a local and I understand the culture or the neighborhood instead of going in a hotel and, do the tourist thing, and you missed out so much stuff. You will understand the food, the tradition, the custom if you are living with a local. And also they can guide you or help you with not to be fooled around, by the local taxi or whoever, because they know you're not from there. They will tell you places to go also, or local food store to go. What I would say as a woman, yes, I'm concerned about safety. Initially, for example, I wanted to go to Morocco alone, but then I realized it's not for women, especially black women, to travel alone. So I did a group tour for it. I was reading blogs, even on Travel Noir, of some black American girls, and they have all this list of safety equipment, and I'm like, as a European, I'm not so concerned about that, but I know, for example, when I went to Mexico, I did a massage and the guy started to touch me in a weird way and I had to leave. Yes. And I never got massaged by a man before for this exact reason. Because I always thought in the back of my mind, I don't trust them. And this guy tried to kiss me. The fuck? So I was like, oh, hell no. Hell no. I stood up and I went.
So try to surround yourself as much as possible. that was more about like the safety part of solo traveling. I would add maybe the activity and experience part of solo traveling. So my recommendation would be, if you want to meet people, connect, or discover new activities, try hostels. I had my first experience in an amazing hostel in Portugal. And I think it's a very good way to meet people, connect, discover new things also. The second thing is try activities you've never done. For instance, if you go to, I don't know, like Bali, try doing some meditation or some yoga, you know, like, or I don't know, hike somewhere, like do something new for yourself. It's really helpful. And I think the last point, and something that is really useful when you do solo traveling, is your mental health. Actually, I'm gonna talk to you about a small anecdote I have again. So I was in Nusa Penida. Nusa Penida is a small island near Bali. It's really close to Bali. I remember there was this time I was actually on a scooter with the driver, and it was like sunset. So Bali sunset, you can see it's amazing. Magic. Yeah, and then the guy was singing, and he looks like Bruno Mars, by the way. Anyway, so he was singing, and he asked me, what is your favorite song? I told him, okay, my favorite song is Redemption Song by Bob Marley. And he said, okay, sing. So I started singing, so, oh, pirates, yes, they rabbi. And that was the sunset and Bali's wind, and the sun was coming down. It was almost like night, and I was just singing with the wind. And I think it's one of the most memorable moments of my life, and I still get the feeling whenever I think about it. And that wouldn't have happened if I wasn't solo traveling, and if I wasn't trying something new and something completely different. And it was amazing for my mental health. I was like revigorated.
Okay, I think that's actually a good point. That mental health is gonna make us transition into the last parts of this discussion, which will be focusing on digital detox. Okay.
Yes.
Mental health, digital detox.
Amen.
Whenever you travel, you guys, listen. You can take 1, 2, 3 pictures, but it's important. I think, at least for me, it's okay to leave Instagram on hold for 2 days, 3 days of your vacation.
1
and
week,
really
that's
be
what
present.
I do, minimum.
Exactly, 1 week. And really be present and experience the life fully, you know. You can show that you're in a different country. But what is really the purpose of always taking your phone and recording literally everything? You're not in the moment. You're literally behind your screen. And for what reason? First of all, you might not even post most of the stuff that you have. And you're just missing really into the real experience that it is, you know. I think for me, and then a recommendation for just people traveling, and it's not only for women or for Black women, it's for a week, for the length of your trip, just detach yourself from social media a little bit. If it's for, you know, your content, and if you're a content creator, it's okay. But if it's really for you to escape, to, you know, unwind, I don't think it's that necessary.
Yes.
So what I tried to do was to go in places where there's no free roaming, for example, like in Cuba. And so it means you don't have internet at all. So you're forced to enjoy the moment.
Which is the best, you know?
And it's the best.
So, girls, I mean, time is ticking. So I'm going to ask you for the wrap up to give us one main thing you think Black women traveling should keep in mind.
I would say safety and culture. That's me.
Yeah, just really be mindful of the history and the customs, you know, to be, first of all, to save yourself some hard times, but to respect the culture or the country that you're going into, because it's important. You will want them to do the same thing when they come to yours.
And for me, I think the key thing is to experience, like learn things about yourself by experiencing. Yeah. All right, people, that was an amazing discussion. Thank you, Christina. So we're gonna move to our last part, that is our recommendations. So I think it's obvious that our first and main recommendation for this episode is people go follow and try Melanin Travels Magic. She's doing an amazing job. Go follow, talk about it to every single Black person you know in your entourage, and just go, you know. That's definitely my first recommendation.
Yes, I agree. She's an amazing person, and you can learn a lot about just with her experience, because she's very experienced.
All right, and then we're gonna ask our guest first. So, what is your recommendation for the POW network?
Read The Alchemist. I guess as a teenager, that's what influenced me to travel, because Paulo Coelho's got this magic touch to make you travel to find yourself. Read books first. It's good for escapism, but it's good to grow your mindset.
So for me, I have this podcast that I really like. It's called Therapy for Black Girls. It's on Apple Podcasts, I think. So, I mean, the title says it all, right? It's just a podcast kind of centered on Black girls. And the podcast is made actually by a psychologist. So I really would encourage you guys to go and listen. Check it out. It's a nice breath of fresh air.
Yeah. And for me, my recommendation, it's a book, but it comes in a context. Right now, as we are recording this episode, there are strikes in Senegal and people are dying, which is crazy for our country. Like, we're not used to that. And I hope everything will be sorted when we publish this podcast. So I want to recommend a book. It's called The Beggars' Strike. In French, it's called La Grève des Batous. It's written by Aminata Soufal. Why I'm recommending it? It's because it shows that the poorest ones are key to our society and we should keep them in mind. And that's actually something that our government isn't understanding and everything is going crazy, but just it's a book about what is important in society and how you should treat others. And that's why I wanted to recommend it. Thank you everyone for listening. Reach out and follow us on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Yeah, check out our website too, powerfulafricanwoman.com, to see what we are up.
And give us your opinions, suggestions, or comments.
Share as much as possible POW to your entourage to strengthen the network.
And don't forget, ladies, to bring the power in you.
Nyomi, c'est bon. Merci beaucoup.
Nyomi, c'est bon.
Thank you, Saron. Thank you, Christina.
Nyomi, elle qui est bon. Nyomi, elle qui est bon. Bon. Lomi, elle qui est bon. Nyomi, elle qui est bon. Guanou. Atisi, pata, koto. Pasa kamikiri, pata, koto. Pasa kite, pasa, koto. Paye, ki, la pub.